Welcome again to today's topic, which is on dogs and cats health management in a rural setup. And one will wonder, why are we talking of dogs and cats in a channel that is dedicated to agricultural extension? It is very simple. Agricultural production, especially by small-scale producers, is done in the rural areas, and in those places, dogs and cats dot the farms. You have dogs and cats in almost every farm. And in the rural areas, dogs and cats are kept for different reasons other than companionship and pets. Because dogs are kept as guard dogs, and cats are kept to control rats and mice. In the rural areas, there are no animal hospitals and there are no specialized laboratories examine the cats and dogs' diseases. And the vets normally don't have assistants. So when they go to treat an animal, they are the ones who handle or restrain the animal and also treat it, making it very difficult. Also in the rural areas, cats and dogs grooming is not very common. So you might find a dog or a cat that has never taken a bath throughout its lifetime. There is no good dog and cat housing. Cats are okay because they stay in the house, but dogs housing is not very good. You might find that a dog might not even have a house, and therefore it takes shelter under trees and verandas when the weather conditions are not favorable. The feeding regime is also not very good. You might find that sometimes the dogs, the cats, they eat the remains of what the household has taken. And also in the rural areas, the households or the owners are not willing to pay or they are not able to pay for veterinary services. However, there are minimal good practices that should take place in the rural areas to ensure that the dogs and cats offer their services for a very long time and efficiently. One of them is vaccination. And one disease that should be vaccinated against is rabies. Rabies is an acute, progressive, and fatal viral disease. By fatal, I mean once the clinical signs appear, the animal is destined to die. The disease affects carnivores or dogs family and also bats, but it also affects rat mammals. Mammals are animals that suck their young ones, and human beings fall into this category. Therefore, we say rabies is zoonotic. That means it can move from animals to man or a human being. The disease is transmitted through a bite. When a rabid animal bites another animal or even a human being, that person or animal gets the disease. But man is a dead-end host. Man does not transmit rabies. Even if you are bitten by a rabid man or a woman, you will not get disease. The clinical signs of rabies appears 21 to 80 days after one has been bitten by a rabid animal. And normally there is a behavior change. You find that if it's a dog or any other animal that used to be very timid, it will become excited. Or if it's a dog, an animal that was very quiet, it will become excited for a day or two. And then it will show the rabid or the rabies signs, characteristic signs, which are madness. It will go biting anything and everything on sight, including things that are not alive, like timber, like wood, metal, and all that. And finally, before 10 days are over, the animal will become paralyzed, then it will die. So the disease does not extend 10 days from the time the clinical signs appear. So if a person is bitten by a rabid dog, because if you don't take precaution, the person will get the disease and die. The thing to do is to clean that wound where he or she has been bitten with soap and water and rush that person to the hospital so that on that same very day, the person starts vaccination. We call it 0 day. The person will also be vaccinated day 3, day 7, day 28, and day 90. That is after he or she was bitten. However, if the dog or the animal that bit the person is still alive 10 days after biting, then it is most likely not rabies, and the vaccination can be stopped. One does not have to go to the 28 days and the 90 days. So the control of rabies is through vaccination of dogs and cats, because they are said to be reservoirs. Reservoirs are the animals that keep the disease circulating in the environment. And when an animal, any other animal, has been bitten by a rabid dog, it should also be vaccinated after the wound treatment. Rabies is very common from where I'm talking from, that is in Kenya, and even in the area, in the locality that I come from, and therefore it should be controlled. Another disease that should be vaccinated against, should be a must, is canine parvovirus, or parvo in short. This is a highly contagious disease of puppies, and it affects puppies between 6 weeks and 6 months of age, and it is highly transmissible. That means if you have one puppy showing the signs, within a week, all the other puppies will have shown the week, and the mortality or the death rate is very high. You will lose about 90% of the puppies, especially in the rural areas where specialized treatment is not available. And the transmission is through infected material, like anything that has been infected with fecal material from a sick animal, like the surfaces, surfing bowls and all that, you will get the disease. The clinical signs include weakness, lack of appetite, vomiting, and bloody diarrhea. The stool is just blood. So you cannot treat a parvovirus disease using medications that are given through the mouth, because medicine will either be vomited or it will go out through diarrhea. So treatments in parvo are all injectables. The disease is very common from where I'm talking from, and it affects mostly the exotic breeds of dogs, but also local breeds are susceptible. There are other diseases that should be vaccinated against. This includes canine distemper in dogs, and canine hepatitis also in dogs, and feline panleukopenia in cats. Feline panleukopenia is not so common, but distemper is reported. Like now, in 2017, it was reported in the country, so it should be vaccinated against. So the vaccination regime of dogs and cats should start with the parvo at 6 weeks of age, and then it is repeated 2 weeks after, and this time it is combined with the other vaccines, that is D for distemper, H for hepatitis, L for leptospirosis, and parvo. And the good thing is that the vaccines which are in the market, they have this combination. So one does not have to worry about how to mix them or how to inject them. At 12 weeks, DHRP and rabies should also be given. This DHRP is called a booster, and this DHRP and rabies should be repeated annually or every year. The puppies should be dewormed every 2 weeks until they are 3 months of age, when now they can be dewormed every 3 months. The cats, vaccination against rabies is very important, and the kittens should also be dewormed, just like in the dog. Other practices that should take place, the control of worms. There are many types: tapeworms, roundworms, heartworms, crooks, and others. The tapeworm is an elongated or long worm that looks like a rope, and it has segments which break down. And sometimes in the fecal material of an infected animal, you might see either the whole worm or these segments. And when they are in feces, they look like rice, like the fecal material has been contaminated with rice. The transmission of tapeworms takes place, and there is normally need for transmission to take place to have an intermediate host or another animal that is not a dog or a cat. And this animal or organism, this can be fleas, they can be farm animals like sheep, cattle, goats, and so on. And in these other intermediate hosts, the eggs which are dropped by by the fecal, in the fecal material of the dog and the cat, they develop to form a larva, and this larva is when can affect the dog or the cat if the cat or the dog consume material that is affected with the larva. Tapeworms are of public health importance in that if this larva takes place, development takes place in meat animals like sheep and goats and cattle, and then they are discovered at a meat inspection stage, these organs are normally condemned. Further, these tapeworms, some of them, like the hydatid cysts, can affect human being, where it goes to the liver of the human being, and it develops, and the cysts become very big, such that when you see somebody who has hydatidosis or is infected with the hydatid disease, he or she looks like he's heavily pregnant. And the only treatment is a surgical removal of these cysts. So, the dog tapeworm should be controlled, and the tapeworm just competes with the dog or the cat with the food that it has eaten. It goes to the intestinal or digestive system, and it consumes what the animal has been fed. So you find that the animal will become weak, and it will not grow if it's a puppy at the rate that you expect. And sometimes these worms might be so many that they broke the whole intestines, such that nothing can pass through, including the stool. Sometimes these worms produce a chemical that reacts in the body and it causes seizures or conversions, especially in puppies. So you might see a puppy with the conversions and you tend to think maybe this is epilepsy, but most likely it might be tapeworms. The control of these tapeworms is regular deworming, as discussed earlier. Another worm that should be controlled is the hookworm. The hookworm is a worm that has a tilted neck, therefore it looks like it is hooked, and it is rounded and elongated, and it does not require an intermediate host to infect, especially the dogs, and it can also be transmitted through milk. Apart from the infected environment, it can also be infect through milk, because the larva migrates in the animal, especially the mother, the bitch, and then it goes to the udder or the mammary gland, and it is released in milk, and it can affect young ones. And the larva can also migrate through the skin and affect an animal, and go to the digestive system and affect an animal. So there are many ways of transmission of this worm, and therefore the deworming, especially for puppies, should take place from 2 weeks of age, because it can get it through the milk, through the skin, and contaminated environment. These worms, they suck blood from the intestines, where they are, or the digestive system. They suck blood of the animal, and therefore the animal becomes very anemic. The eyes and the mouth, they look very pale, because a lot of blood has been lost, and they also don't grow very well. So control is through regular deworming from 2 weeks of age. The mother or the bitch should also be dewormed when it is 7 days to giving birth, and also 7 days after giving birth, because it can transmit to the young ones. Another practice that should take place is the control of external parasites, and one of them is the ticks. Ticks are parasites which are found on the rat, and they affect many animals, including dogs and cats. They could be soft, they have a soft body or a hard body, they have 8 legs, and they suck blood. They are normally on the surface of the animal, that is the skin, and they suck blood. And apart from sucking blood, they also transmit disease organisms like Babysiosis parasite, and they also induce toxins or produce toxins that induce diseases like tick paralysis. They also injure the skin, making it prone to other disease infections. So the control of ticks is using chemicals to spray or dip or wash the animal, and they are chemicals that are recommended for that purpose, and they are available in the rural areas, and most likely they are the same ones that are used for the tick control in cattle and sheep. So they are available and affordable. One of the diseases that is transmitted by ticks in dogs is called babesiosis. This is transmitted by the brown dog tick, not the blue big tick you see on the animal's back, but this is a small one which you might find it hidden in cavities like under the arms and all that. And the parasite goes inside the red blood cells of the dog and it causes rising or hemorrhages. It breaks down the cell, the red blood cells, and therefore the animal will produce dark or blood urine. It will have a high temperature, and there will be signs of loss of blood. You see that the eyes and the mouth and other mucous membranes are very pale or very white. This disease is easily confirmed. It can easily be confirmed in a laboratory through a blood smear, and is also treatable if discovered early enough. Another disease that is transmitted by ticks is called ehrlichiosis. Ehrlichiosis is also transmitted by the same brown dog tick, and this one goes to the white blood cells and also makes them because it affects the white blood cells. They tend to multiply in big numbers, and therefore the lymph nodes where these white cells are produced enlarge. So one characteristic sign you will see with ehrlichiosis is enlarged lymph nodes. There is also high temperature. The dog might produce blood through the nostrils, and there are signs of blood loss like a pounding heart. There is also vomiting. These are all signs of ehrlichiosis, and it is very easy to treat. The drugs are available and affordable, but diagnosis is mostly missed because it's not so characteristic like the babesiosis. Another practice that should take place is control of fleas. Fleas are many that affect the dog. There is a dog flea, there is a cat flea, there is even a poultry flea called a stick-tight flea of chicken that affects dogs, and it is so small that when a dog has this stick-tight flea, it will just scratch, and when you look for the fleas, you will not be able to see them, and you might miss diagnosis and say the dog or cat does not have fleas. Fleas are transmitted through contact, and one animal has the fleas can transmit it to the others. The beddings or the environment where the affected animal was is also one way of transmitting the disease. The disease might also require an intermediate host like tapeworms for the part of it to develop. The fleas cause severe irritation of the skin, and the animal is always trying to scratching, and sometimes you might not see these fleas because I said some of them could be very small, and some fleas or some dogs and cats, they develop something called flea allergy. It's not all of them, but a number of them develop flea allergy, which means even if it is bitten by only one flea, it will develop that intense scratching and itching and all that, and it is only one flea. That is an allergy. The parasites, the control of the ticks is to control, to bathe or clean the animal or spray it with the insecticides because fleas are insects, and this one will kill the fleas. And you should also clear these fleas in the environment where the animal is by spraying or by regular cleaning of the place. So one flea that affects the dogs is the stick-tight flea of the chicken that normally affects the chicken around the eyes, and it is so small that you might not see it and you might miss it. So when you see a dog is really having intense scratching, you might be forced to treat it for fleas even if you can't see them. So another external parasite that should be controlled in dogs is called mange. This is infestation with mites. Mites are small parasites that are related more to the tick than the flea because they have 8 legs, and like the flea, which is an insect which has 6 legs. Mites are also very small. You might not see them, but maybe when you go to a dog house or a cat house that is infected with them, you might feel some things growing on your legs and you can't see them. And one of the mange mites that is very common is Sarcoptes mage. And this mage is very contagious. It affects the other parts of the animal, the belly, the elbows, and all that. And it causes the skin to be very itchy, and there are crusts or dead rough-like materials. The skin weakens, and sometimes you find even it is folding because of mage, and there is a lot of scratching. So the treatment for mage is topical, and you use the same chemicals that you use to spray the animals against the ticks. They will also do the same for the mage. So every time you are dipping or attending to your tick control in your cattle and sheep and other animals, and also spray your dog to prevent this one, the mage. For Sarcoptes mage, if one animal is affected, the others have to be treated because it is highly transmissible and it will get to the other animals. Or you can separate or isolate the animal that is sick and you treat it first before it comes into contact with other animals. The environment should also be cleared of the parasite through spraying. So mage affects the other part of the body, and there is loss of hair, there is thickening, and even folding. And the animal is like scratching all the time, and it loses weight because it is not feeding well. So the control of these parasites, external parasites and internal parasites, is good housing, because most of them they will be in the environment where the animal lives in. So the floor of the dog house and the cat, where possible, should be made of cleanable material, and the walls too should be made of cleanable material. In places where one cannot be able to put up such a structure, then one can put up a timber house and have it raised from the ground, because most of these parasites are normally at the ground level. Have the structure raised so that you minimize the contact between the animal and the parasites. So another good practice that should be taken care of is to ensure that the dog or the cat consumes food that is not contaminated with aflatoxin. Aflatoxin is a toxin that is produced when the feed material like maize, soybeans, peanuts, and all that is contaminated with a fungi, that is the mold fungi or the mold that produces aflatoxin. Aflatoxin is very dangerous because aflatoxin is heat stable. You can't boil or heat the food and say, I'll kill the aflatoxin. It will still infect the animal. And this happens, the aflatoxin comes about when food is, or the raw material like maize, which produces the animal food, is stored in an environment that is hot and humid. That one is favorable for the mold, and the mold will produce the toxin. Aflatoxin affects mostly the liver, which becomes enlarged, and it's not able to produce the materials that it produces to digest the food. And you might find that it is also producing a lot of water, or water is coming out and is affecting the belly, so that you find the animal's belly is filled with water, and the mucous membranes, like the eyes and the mouth and all that, they are yellow because the liver is not able to produce, the bile is not being used. So aflatoxinosis is common and something that one should ensure. You might find very good food from the store, but if you keep it in an environment that has molds, then it will develop the molds and will affect your animal. So, for example, if you have harvested maize and you find that there are these white substances here, this one's it's mold and it has started eating the maize, that maize should not be produce flour for making dog food. It should be discarded completely. Another practice that should take place in the rural areas is birth control of the animals, because sometimes they produce so much and then one doesn't know what to do with with the mini puppies or kittens. So this can be done through castration of the male animal, cat or dog, because it is an affordable and simple operation. But if you have many females and your compound is not fenced, then it means you have to have the females either operated so that they don't give birth, or injected with a drug that normally controls birth. And this drug is injected frequently, like 3 or 4 months, and it has to be regular for it to work effectively. So otherwise, there are many things that can be done for dogs and cats, but those are the minimal ones that should be carried out to ensure that your dog and cat are well managed at farm level or in the rural areas, other rural areas where specialized treatment for dogs and cats is not available. So this one brings me to the end of my presentation. I hope I've liked it. If you have, please give it a thumbs up and share it with others. And also, if you are new to this channel, please subscribe. So this brings me to the end. Thank you very much. Thank you.